I'm not crying. Well, maybe I am, but these are manly tears. Jokes aside though, this movie was emotional, you know, being a huge Spider-Man fan and all, and most definitely has to be the biggest movie event since probably Avengers Endgame. And quite rightly so, because this movie essentially is the culmination of the last 20 years almost of Spider-Man. And it's not really that everything has been leading up to this moment. A little bit of that, but more that this movie answers a lot of questions and makes all the past failed Spider-Man series make a whole lot more sense. It's like Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man, and this film is the conclusion to so many things Spider-Man. I really hope I did not phrase that in a way that might hint to a spoiler. But I mean, I believe massive Spider-Man fans will enjoy this movie to pieces. I know I did, and I don't think I've seen as much hype for a movie since Endgame. But this film is very hard to talk about without spoilers, and I don't want to create another video, so after my official rating of the movie, I will be jumping straight to spoilers. Okay, let's get started. So this film continues on from the last one, where Mysterio exposes Spider-Man's real identity and Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange in hopes of help. But then they start getting visitors from other universes as a result of that. So we have a few actors reprising their roles as past Spider-Man villains in this one. Yeah, I guess one way to describe this movie was that it was a nostalgic masterpiece. I mean, this was truly the best way to showcase a multiverse, especially since we are seeing Spider-Man villains from both Sam Raimi's and Mark Webb's Spider-Mans together in one movie, interacting with each other, bonding together in a way, and acting how you expect them to act. But it's not even that these guys aren't on screen for a fairly short amount of time. No, they have a lot of screen time, and there's a lot of character building moments between these guys that most Spider-Man fans will adore. And what they say during the movie really shows you how all these Spider-Man movies, every single one of them, are finally connected. I don't know about you, but that makes me pretty happy. And I can't tell you how many times the audience at my theater were clapping and screaming in excitement. If I had to guess, probably around 10 to 15 full times. Not only to exciting things that were happening, but also to specific things that were said. There are quite a lot of awesome references in this one.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
This movie does feel a lot different than any previous Tom Holland Spider-Man film. Don't expect a lot of MJ and Ned or Flash Thompson or even Doctor Strange, honestly, because the main focus is on Spider-Man. It has always been about Spider-Man, and this movie is particularly emotional because of that. I'm gonna admit, I cried in the theaters, and I'm sure many have. I know, I heard some sniffles and crying sounds in the theaters. But just imagine, this is the big one, the one that connects all the dots. And in this movie, Peter goes through a lot, and he learns the hard way what it means to be Spider-Man. I'm going to give Spider-Man No Way Home an A. It's not perfect though, hence the no A+ score. Hey, if I see just one little tiny flaw in a movie, it does not get a perfect grade, and this movie has 2, though they are, in my opinion, and very much up for debate. First off, okay, if you have read a lot of fan theories online and have seen this movie, you will know that basically almost every single one of them are right. At least that was the case for the ones that I read. Not only for this movie, but also with Far From Home with Mysterio. Damn, people are really smart. But yes, there are 3 Spider-Mans. Tobey and Andrew are back, and this might have been obvious for some when they saw the trailer and saw the multiverse where past Spider-Man villains had reappeared. Like I said, I cried in theaters. You know, being a huge, massive Spider-Man fan, and not that something really emotional was happening. Sometimes that was the case, but mostly because I got to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield one last time, probably, and together even. And thank you for making this happen, Marvel Studios. When MJ was close to falling and dying and I saw Tom Holland Spider-Man trying to save her, I was like, oh no. But then the Green Goblin swoops him away, and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man comes in to save her as redemption for when he failed to save Gwen Stacy. And I'm like, yes. I was waiting for that moment. Also a fan theory, by the way, but I'm really glad that happened. Because honestly, the main reason I loved Amazing Spider-Man so much was because of Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's relationship in those movies, especially the second one, but mostly Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. And seeing that in No Way Home, man, this is what I mean when I say this movie is one that Spider-Man fans will enjoy to pieces. I also saw a fan theory that said that the other two Spider-Mans were cut from the scene in the trailer when they were fighting Sandman, Electra, and the Lizard. That was also a very interesting fan theory that was right. But I mean, I guess one of the little flaws that I mentioned was that if you're like me, very keen to watch this movie and have read upon fan theories like on Reddit or whatever, there's not a whole lot of surprises in this movie. I believe the only one that I wasn't expecting was Aunt May dying. I'm pretty sure that was it. And speaking of that, wow, I mean, both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield lost someone very dear to them, so it only made sense, right? And I really like that part where they teach Tom Holland Spider-Man a thing or two, like how it's dangerous to be around Spider-Man, you know, because they have more experience. I guess that's why he just straight up doesn't tell MJ who he really is at the end of the movie, you know, because he wants to protect her. Now on to the next thing. I do kind of feel like Venom should have been in this movie as a cameo or something, and not the Venom you might think I'm talking about. No, not Tom Hardy's Venom, but Topher Grace's one, because he was a main villain in the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, wasn't he? It would only make sense, would it not? And I could see how his Venom could introduce Tom Hardy's Venom a lot more instead of that very vague mid-credit scene we got with him. That was about as vague as the Venom vs. Carnage mid-credit scene where he reacted to Spider-Man on the news. It feels like this mid-credit scene was a continuation of that mid-credit scene. Oh, he sees Spider-Man on the news, probably got teleported to them a dimension because of Doctor Strange's spell, then goes to a bar for a few drinks. I guess I just expected more. I also wonder where he went to, because it seemed like he disappeared like all the other characters from the multiverse. Okay, let's analyze this. If let's say, because this should happen for obvious reasons, but if Spider-Man is facing Venom in the next movie, then maybe all the other characters of the multiverse that disappeared didn't actually disappear and went somewhere else. And we might see more of them. Or Eddie Brock / Venom went with them and has to escape somewhere at the start of the next Spider-Man movie. What am I kidding? I'm not that good at fan theories. That's just what I think though. But anyway, back to what I was saying before. Now, I don't really see this as a flaw anymore because you can argue, well, why wasn't Harry Osborn in this one? Both the first and the second versions. And then it might be too messy, which I can understand, and they'd be going down the same path as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. You know, that movie was pretty convoluted. Regardless, I'm still content with my A grade, mostly based on these two very minor flaws, which I still stick by, but mostly for one reason. It didn't really surprise me that much, you know, after reading on fan theories, and I'm used to big surprises in Marvel movies. And when I mean big surprises, I meant I expected more towards the end when Doctor Strange says they're all coming through and he can't stop them. And then Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil cameo that we saw, also a fan theory that was correct, but I thought he'd have more to do though. His scene didn't really mean much towards the end, but what's funny is that right now, because I thought he would be in the film, I'm currently binge watching Daredevil. I only got to the end of season 2 though. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed, and as always, feel free to check out any of my previous videos. Until next time.